What's up, brothers? As we are here ready for some Friday night Overwatch. My name is Joker's Ransom, and I am filling in. We're actually all kind of filling in for the regular desk besides Head. We're actually all kind of filling in for the regular desk besides Headrammer. They're all.
What do you mean? We are the new desk.
Yeah, we're the new desk.
The better desk.
We're the better desk. Yes, I agree, Dex. We are the better desk. Yeah, the rest of the desks are hamming it up down in Dallas for CECC, NECC LAN weekend. So make sure to give them love on Twitter and on the streams that they are doing, right? But my name's Joker's Ransom. I'm here, the host. We've got Headrammer, we've got Dexatron, and we've got Geo to fill in for this weekend. We've got a good matchup here tonight. We've got Roadrunner Gaming versus Outliers Esports, and big stuff, especially Outliers Dice. Geo, the man of the dice. This should be a good matchup, Geo, right?
Yeah, well, last time these teams met, it was a 3-0 sweep, but this time I'm feeling like revenge is always in the air, right? That's even been the story in OWCS, and you know, maybe a cold night here in Old Alba at 1 a.m., but there's a storm arising here in the NA tier.
Yeah, this should be a great series of Overwatch. But before we get into it, it is time for everyone's favorite game. What map is that? What map is that?
I'm excited.
It's a pretty nice jingle you got there, Joker.
Honestly,
I'm gonna steal that one.
Honestly, better than Sam.
All right, let me pull up my little game show here. That way, you know, y'all get a little bit of the fun experience. I don't want you guys to feel, you know, excluded or anything. Let's
What?
see.
Excluded.
You hear me? Everyone have their buzzer open?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yes.
Oh, freaking you're in the wrong window. We don't need to pretend that's not that.
We'll call it transition.
What map is that?
What map is
Yeah,
that?
What map is
Woo! Woo!
It's spin at 3 frames a second.
It's spinning so menacingly. All right. So I am gonna pull up my buzzer to make sure you guys aren't cheating. Remember, you gotta buzz in for what it is. It can be any map in Overwatch, and if it's a control map, I want to know what sub point it is. Okay.
Okay.
Also, I just realized, Joker, you put your name as Joe Space Kerr
Yeah.
in this buzzer.
That actually did throw me.
Like
Yeah.
Steve Kerr.
All right, everyone. What map is that? Dex?
That's Anarch Peninsula.
Sorry, you're incorrect. Joker,
Horizon Lunar Colony.
you are correct. It is
Yeah.
Horizon Lunar Colony. Joker's starting off strong.
That's
Time for
good.
me.
Dex, it does make me wonder what section were you thinking of for that map?
Labs or no, not Icebreaker, not Labs. The other map there, because I know those.
Oh,
I know those
right.
two. I know that both spawn rooms in that one have something like that.
I
I missed the moon.
You missed the moon? You've been there recently?
Yeah.
All right, what map is that? Joker?
Is it Busan Mecha Base?
It is not, unfortunately. Gio, you sound like you know what it is.
I'm going off the pure fact that looks like some sort of climbing equipment in the wall. I'm going to say Antarctic Peninsula.
Well, if it's a control map, you have to name what sub point too.
Labs.
Perfect guess, actually.
Oh, yes!
Wow.
Very good. Very good. I like your thought process there. It's actually it's pretty educational.
Let's go.
Now though, let's get to a little bit of a different one. What about this one? What map is that?
Oh, wait.
Joker?
Is that Kings Row?
Unfortunately, it's not Kings Row. What is it, Dex? Tell me.
That's, I believe, Busan Mecha Base.
You were actually correct. It is Busan Mecha Base.
Oh.
So far, we keep going through this theme of somebody guesses a map, it's not it, and then the very next one is that map.
Okay, so next one, Kings Row. Next one, it's Kings Row, guys.
Next one's got
All right, give me Kings Row.
That's not Kings Row, gang.
Gio.
I can vote.
No. Dex.
Geo actually took my guess there.
Ooh, really?
Yeah.
It's one or two. It's one of two.
Well, Dex, do you have a guess since you did buzz in first before Joker?
I'm gonna just say Hananoka.
I'm afraid not, Joker.
Understandable.
So I'm gonna go with Dorado.
I'm sorry, you're also incorrect. Any other guesses
Um,
from anyone else before we? Okay, Joker.
Castillo.
No. Dex, Geo, one last guess. No?
I feel it.
Is this?
It has
I
to
don't
be
remember.
one.
I don't remember the name of the map. But is this the Sombra deathmatch map? The
No,
one
I
that
did
has
not.
her.
I just guessed that.
Are
Oh,
we doing deathmatch?
I'm an idiot.
Are we doing
Well,
deathmatch?
I guess we'll give it a. Yeah, any map in Overwatch. That's
Okay.
what it is. Geo.
Black Forest.
It is Black Forest.
Yeah.
Okay.
Was it?
I thought
I
it-
knew it was a deathmatch map.
All right, next one. What map is that? Pretty shiny little window, isn't it? Geo?
Oh.
Circuit Royale?
I'm afraid not. Dex.
I just dropped the name.
Oh.
Describe it to me.
The map in Italy.
You're thinking Rialto?
Yeah.
Thinking of.
Well, it's not that either. So,
Um,
Joker.
Remember how I was
Very
good at
useful.
this?
No.
Remember how I was good at this at one point?
Dex, I don't know. Is this just like you get on the desk and like everyone who's on the desk is just like nerfed to all map knowledge? Is that what it is?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what it
feels
is.
Like.
All right.
Different in the hot
Any other
seat.
final guesses?
Yeah, I'll go for one. Now.
You?
I'm gonna throw out Malavento.
Right, not Joker.
Chateau Guillard.
I think you guys are gonna be kicking yourself when you see this here.
I think I know. What it is,
Wait.
then, right?
Dex.
No, it's not. It's not Ike.
I'll give you 3 more seconds. 3,
I might have caught it.
2.
New Queen Street. I
New
don't
Queen
know,
Street?
man.
No, it is Havana.
That was one of the ones I wanted to guess.
Oh.
It's one of the ones I wanted to guess.
Unfortunately, no points for anyone that round.
See, that map
God, I
doesn't exist
suck.
in my head canon. So I
But
didn't
this,
think of
yeah, your head canon. It's like, well, it doesn't exist in my world, so I don't think it's real. All right, Dex.
Oh, Coliseum?
No. Did you not realize you buzzed in?
I think I'm holding my mouse up in the air, so I'm just whenever I move it, I feel like I'm always
Oh.
just clicking it.
Slams
Man's
into
using
the
gyro
disc.
controls.
That's great.
Geo.
I'm thinking Shambali first attack spawn.
Well, I appreciate the accuracy with how direct you were,
Oh,
but you have to,
wow.
for non-control maps, you only need another map.
Yeah,
But
I was
you
just
knew exactly
I was
where it
saying
was,
my
though.
working outlived.
Yeah, you knew exactly
God.
where it was.
Yeah, I wasn't getting that.
We suck.
All right, what map is that? You surely guys get this one. Dex?
Nimbani?
Correct.
Dang it!
It's another day in the office for Dex there. I don't
Back.
wanna-
I'm back
I
on
can't
it.
lose this. I can't.
All right, well, Dex, if you're back, you should know this one, right? Yeah?
No way. That's.
As you can see in this picture, I was lagging when I took this photo.
Yeah, I'm also looking at the flying vehicle right there as well, and trying to remember what maps those are on.
I think
I
a
know
lot of maps in
exactly the
Overwatch, to be
map.
honest with you.
Oh.
Dex, I'm gonna have to give you a countdown soon.
Let me just say Eichenwald at night.
No.
Yep, thank you.
That's a
Yep,
great guess.
I'll exit out now.
Is it Route 66?
No.
This is Anubis, right?
No.
What? Oh,
Guys, do you not see a pyramid in the background?
Yeah, I see the pyramid. That's what's throwing me off.
Joker?
Dorado.
No.
That has a pyramid, bruh.
Yeah. Geo?
Wait.
Necropolis.
Correct.
Oh.
Okay, and
Yeah,
Geo just
it's-
won.
Oh, we still got 2 more. Maybe you guys can do some more.
There's
Yeah.
a potential for a Dex catch up.
Acropolis
Joker.
just does not
What map's
exist
that?
to me.
Joker, you have to throw.
Geo?
Kings Row.
No.
Oh my! I just threw so hard on that.
Joker?
Circuit Royale.
No. X.
Wow, this is a really bad week for me.
I believe in you. You can get this one.
What?
There's even a nice little photo right here.
You're
Is
not
that
gonna get me
of the
to,
place?
You're not gonna get me to say Eichenwald for the 4th time, so I'm just gonna guess. Is it Esperanza?
Yeah.
Good,
Really?
good one. Yeah, good guess.
Wow. Yeah, I would never gotten that.
Hey, remember even the health packs right here.
I saw hotel doors and I was like, hotel, Kings Row. And then I said,
Yeah,
Kings Row,
you
and I was
locked it in.
"Oh,
You're like-
no."
Well, technically, there's
Alright.
also a hotel in Havana, isn't there?
And
Yeah, well, I
Circuit
think
so,
Royale.
there's
yeah.
one here.
Okay, final one. What map's that?
Bro, what? Where is that? I've
Normally,
never-
normally the
never
10th
seen
map
that.
is always
Geo?
some.
We're in Lucio's hometown of Parisa.
Correct.
Oh yeah. I mean,
Yeah, it's
ow.
I'll be honest. I did not realize that this room existed either.
I'm like, what? I've never
Oh,
seen that room.
Yeah, I went to the corner. I'm like, what? What is this?
You have. I know you. Do you have an 11th one just for fun?
I do not,
Funsies.
unfortunately.
Unfortunate.
That is all I have today. All right, who's our winner?
That
Geo.
means
What a shock! It's Geo.
It's
Whoa.
Geo, the winner of what map is that?
What can I say? The
my-
brainwaves are too large.
I want to remind everyone, Gio was actually going to bed before we brought him on the desk. So
The brain waves of getting ready to fall
There.
asleep have helped him here.
Yeah, the dreams have come to me.
he's fully
Speaking
aligned.
Of brain power, we need to discuss something that happened quite recently. Desk. We have the Orisa nerf that came through recently. Dexatron. What do you think of that? What is it gonna change what we're seeing? You know, we've got OWCS major coming up soon. Is that gonna change what we're seeing in the meta?
I mean, I think it will, especially just since Tuesday, the couple games I've casted, I've not necessarily seen a lot of Orisa, and I've started to actually see a lot more of other tanks come in. Junker Queen, Ramatra, Sigma, Devo, Winston, all come back into the fray now. Orisa's still there, still getting picked sometimes by teams who just haven't necessarily messed with this tank patch just yet, but I feel like you're going to start seeing her less and less right now.
Yeah, I do agree. I think I tend to agree with that. I was seeing in, I believe it was Cowman on Twitter, was saying there's a three tank mix, the trifecta, if you will. Sigma, Mauga, Ram. Gio, what do you think about that?
See, everyone's been talking about Mauga potentially coming back, and I don't know if just because I scrim in the depths of Masters, but a lot of the time, Maugas can get really caught out by a shield in their face with a Reinhardt, and playing a shielding Reinhardt in their face and spamming down the Mauga is actually a strategy that's worked a lot that I've seen in Masters. So I don't know how meta that is, but it's worked there. So perhaps Rein gets played as a shield bot.
I think Mal was also hit by the increase of the DPS
Yeah,
passive because like
yeah.
they hit a reset and then also increase the DPS passive, which I think like takes down a reset and also takes down Mao or just any of the sustain tanks really.
We'll
Yeah.
quickly talk about Headrammer. We'll talk about the changes to Venture as well. They kind of got a nerf, even though they didn't really need a nerf.
Yeah, that one did surprise me. I guess they're trying to remove any of like those one-shot combos that seem like a little oppressive sometimes. It didn't really feel like Venture was too oppressive in my games. That being said, I definitely have run into a few games where like Venture was being like actually enabled was like getting away with absolute murder,
Mhm.
and you're just like, so they pop on the ground, just fly one shot, somebody's like, I'm going back in.
I was there for one of those games.
Oh yeah.
It was not fun.
What should be fun for tank players coming into the mid-season patch here, lads. We've got changes coming to the tank role. Tank passive, 25% damage reduction from headshots. That's gonna be that sounds really game-changing there, Gio.
Yeah, in terms of changing the headshot, I thought about it before because there was a discussion of like the I'm forgetting the specific word. I used all my brain on working out what maps were, but the euphoria of like sounds and gaming and stuff that makes you want to keep playing. The dopamine hits. The dinking
go.
of a headshot is so satisfying that a lot of players are like, "There's a tank, free dopamine. Dink, dink,
Yeah.
dink. And I used to think maybe we just change the sound of the headshot when shooting a tank. Maybe that fixes it. But the 25%, that's nice. It helps. It really buffs some characters a lot, like Junker Queen and Zarya. They're really getting a lot from that because their heads are usually wide open. So
Yeah.
I like that change. Compounding before the other changes, they may have gone too far, but I'm excited as an ex-tank player to potentially play my role again.
And speaking of Junker Queen, we got a change to Commanding Shout coming in here, Headrammer.
Yes.
You can do Commanding Shout during other abilities.
Yeah, I honestly think that's a pretty big change because, I mean, I know I love playing Junker Queen when I play tank, and the amount of times I am just like, going to my freaking axe, and I'm just get bursted for like 200 damage, and I'm like, I'm gonna die, I'm gonna die, I'm gonna die, and I was like slamming my shout button. Yeah, I think that'll be a pretty big thing. It can be good both to save your life, but also if you're in the middle of swinging, it can be a really good tempo change to like you guys, your team sees an opportunity, you shout, and just like in the middle of swiping, you go on them.
And then we also have the health passive change coming in from 20 seconds to 10 seconds plus 5% of the max HP per second here, Dex. I think that's going to really help heroes like Reinhardt get back into the meta here.
It might, but still, the biggest thing with why we aren't seeing a lot of Ryan is just because, I mean, there's other characters that do what he can do a lot better. I mean, the shield that he has is just a shield, and it prevents him from doing a lot of his damage. That's why I see other, tanks being played over him. Maybe, though, we start to see it a little bit. I mean, Gio talked about potentially having that Ryan there to counter their Malga, but at the same time, Malga can just melt shields incredibly fast, so it still puts Ryan in a really bad spot. Not necessarily the best, but maybe when all these things come through and all these patches come in, and we actually get our hands on this, we might see Ryan start to get played a little bit more, but I still don't necessarily think it's going to be a tank you see that often.
Yeah, no, I think you're right. I think we're going to see it in niche situations more than we're seeing it now, but I think until it's not obviously it needs a little bit more.
I'm curious to see the impact the armor changes, though.
Yeah, I was about to bring that in as well. Reducing the armor damage reduction is back to reducing 5 damage per projectile with up to a 50% maximum their head rammer.
Yeah, so we're getting that case where your burst shots will still do quite a bit of damage, and actually probably you'll do a little bit more than you would normally against armor, but you're no longer be peppered by all those people to do shooting multiple bullets like Tracer or even your Bastions too. Which I think does help, especially for Reinhardt, because usually his problems, this man gets surrounded by little stuff. He's getting beamed with damage on all sides, or even getting beamed by a Bastion. And when those things are doing less to him, I think a pretty good margin. Somebody put a spreadsheet up on Reddit that kind of calculated out all the different changes with it, and it seemed like it kind of just shifts it around a little bit how it works. I think in some areas it's a little bit of quality of life improvement, a little better, but I don't think it's all these changes are nearly as big as they say. Or sorry, as some people think it might be, but I think it is a nice little buff to stuff overall.
Yeah, I agree. And I wanted to get Gio, you were talking about it, the whole changes altogether. Is it too much for tanks, or is it just right? Or are we going to be seeing a tank dominated meta again? Here from it was supports to DPS, we're going to tanks. Is that what we're going to be seeing?
I have always had what I feel like might be the hot take of Overwatch 2. If there's one tank on the team, they should be the powerful player on the team. That is, you have one person playing that role, the entire responsibility is on them. So I like this direction. This is one of those things where you don't really know until you play it. For example, the armor change is massive in a lot of ways because, for example, it was 30% damage reduction previously. Now it's 5. Think about charge, 300 damage. It used to be reduced if it was an armor target to 210. Now it's 295. Things like that, that's going to be massive, and this helps make Tracer less meta. It helps make tank busting a little worse. But then they're also buffing Junkrat, so maybe now Junkrat just comes in to be a tank buster. So we'll see how it goes. I think we'll see return of Hanzo. It depends what they buff, but already that armor change is massive for characters like that. So I think Hanzo returns after the mid-season.
Yeah, we obviously also have we haven't gotten really any updates on those light buffs. We're seeing Junkrat, Echo, and Hanzo getting some light buffs into that mid-season patch, but I think I agree with you. There's gonna be a priority of getting those headshots with that Hanzo.
I'm surprised
Uh,
Echo got a
it's-
buff.
Yeah,
Yeah.
honestly, I agree with you. Echo was still very good. We saw it in a lot of a lot more recently, right? Like some players would go into that the Echo to help burn down the Orisa, right? Or
Yeah.
burn down Sojourn to get them out of the fight because Sojourn's doing whatever they want to. It's kind of unfun, right? So
Yeah.
I'm interested to see what those changes are going to be. But I think that's enough talking about the mid-season patch. That's not happening yet. What is happening is the match at hand. We've got, again, Roadrunner Gaming, Roadrunner
Yep.
Gaming versus Outliers Esports. Dex, let's talk first about Roadrunner here.
Yeah, Roadrunner Gaming. I mean, a team that went 4-4 in the regular season and had a map differential of even. They won all their games in sweeps and lost all their games getting swept here. I mean, a team that is either winning dominantly or losing very badly here. So they got a bye in that first round of the lowers bracket. This is their true first playoff game here. I think, having that bye week they essentially had will give them a little bit more time to practice into this. And I mean, they played Outliers not long ago. It was a loss for RRG. So I'm expecting them to look a little bit better tonight and maybe even take the series.
I'm definitely interested to see how they play. Obviously, this is the end all be all. This is the losers bracket right now. Whoever wins stays alive. They actually have to face Amplify in the next round. We'll take a look at that bracket in a little second here. But whoever loses goes home. They don't have a chance to fight for another day. Unfortunately, Roadrunner keeps. Is this the bracket? Oh, there it is. There. Take a look at that bracket. Both of these two teams, actually, interesting enough, Outliers is coming in on a nice little heater. Obviously, they met a brick wall in red team, their head rammer, but they probably have to be feeling good right now.
Yeah, absolutely. I think they're pretty confident going into this. I mean, little guys is no slouch. Red team is a pretty tough team to to get through. I mean, you can see right there they had their bye first round. Have been 3-0 their way through the bracket. So getting knocked to the loser bracket by a team that's doing such a dominant record so far is nothing to slouch by. Getting dropped to the losers bracket and excuse me. Now they have the first matchup down here against RRG, and the team they already kind of did pretty well against in the past. So I think they're looking at this match pretty confident.
Yeah, definitely. I still believe we're waiting for the roster scene because people are not joining our lobby here. Oh, we got them. Perfect. We have roster scenes to show you here. Let's take a look at Roadrunner here, Gio.
Yeah, Roadrunner. Again, both these teams are against elimination. They want to be careful. The two Mercies that really put me off them. I really like playing the Mercy. I hope we don't see this comp. Could you imagine 2 damage boosts on the the Bastion?
I think this is a valid
Open
comp,
queue.
honestly.
Yeah, this is a team I'm not as familiar. I'm an EU head, so I might hand off to someone else. But we're looking for how these teams adapt to this mid-season. If they were really relying on that Orisa, are they going to be able to adapt, or are they going to stick to their guns and just play that Orisa no matter what? That's going to be the kind of meta story here.
Yeah, I'll bring it over to Dex because Dex seems to know a little bit more about this this Roadrunners team. Well, maybe I don't know.
Yeah, I mean,
Dex, you're an expert. You're an expert, right?
Yeah, I mean, I've been able to watch this Roadrunner Gaming team in another tournament, and I watched actually both their teams. I believe they had 2 teams in CGL play. Constantly get better in that one, and it looks like they continue that here, going up against some tough opponents. I mean, I talked about their record already, that 4-4 record. It's very good considering the amount of talent there was in this NA Open tier here, and I mean, I'm looking at these names here. Nonag and Nene are 2 good DPS. Piercing, though, is probably the player to watch out for, in my opinion. But before we throw it over to Outliers, I just want to give a quick shout out because this team is actually a collegiate team from the University of Texas at San Antonio here. And I'm excited to see collegiate teams here in CGL. I think this is a great place for teams to get great competition outside of the collegiate ranks.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you there. I wish we would get more collegiate teams because it gives them that time to play together the entire year round. Yeah, let's take a look at Outliers here now, Headrammer.
Yeah, Outliers lineup maybe look a little bit better than the previous one. No double mercy this time around. But
I mean,
no,
they got
Outliers
Lucio eventually.
Yeah, Outliers got Mitosis and BT here on the DPS. Lion Gamer on the tank, looking pretty slick there with the Winston. Oh, and speaking of slick, actually, we have slick on the on the flex board. You might think I did that as a funny, but no, I actually did not. I'm just that naturally funny. On the Baptiste there, and Aquatic on the main support. No, this team's been competing in a whole bunch of different teams, from TGL, the J3 tournament, the Skieski tournament. This is a PC team, but we even have former console players here, with Aquatic actually being a former Xbox player making that transition. And we even have a call out here from Mr. Slick that apparently they're Jonek on Zen.
That's crazy. Aquatic multi-tier 5. Multi-tier tournament 5, Headrammer.
Yeah, on Mythos and Duck Hunt. I mean, those are two teams I actually do remember. Season 5 was quite a long time. We're in Season 13 now.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Damn.
I joined here in a multi-tier 7. That's even before my time. That's quite impressive. Apparently, one of the Outliers substitutes, Headrammer, is apparently the greatest player CGL has ever seen.
Really?
Care
Actually?
to comment? Yeah, apparently.
Oh, yes, I see Judge here. Yes, I have. Judge has been fairly confident, but you do have to wonder if they're the greatest player we've seen. Why are they not here right now?
Hopeful. But yeah, I'm really excited to see these teams. Right, this should be fun. We have our predictions to show you, and I think we all.
They're perfect. They're perfect predictions.
Yeah, I think so. But I think it is very one-sided. Yeah.
I mean,
unfortunately,
Yeah.
Gio, we'll talk about your Preds because I brought up the dice before, and Outliers has dice in their on their logo. Let's talk about your Preds here.
Yeah, I noticed at Icosahedron they have the 20-sided die icon, and I was thinking, oh, that's just perfect, because it was these two D20s here that predicted the 3-2 win to them. Now, my dice seem to think that it's, going to be a little closer. I Headrammer 30 minutes before broadcast was like, Gio, we need your expertise in this matchup. We need your dice here to predict. So I went up the windy dirt road and found the old hag that lives in the creeping woods, and she blessed my dice for me. So if my prediction's wrong, blame the hag of the creeping woods. But I think my dice might be right, because I think Outliers are going to have a tougher time, because it's all about not getting eliminated here in the final playoffs of this season.
Yeah. I agree. I'd have to agree with you. But I didn't, because 3-1 here, right? And I think myself, Headrammer, and Dexatron went with this because, again, it is at least for me, it is, like you said, they've played before. It was a 3-0 in favor of Outliers, but again, this is a winners take all type of scenario. You win, you stay in. I think that's where we're going to see at least a map victory coming in from Roadrunner. Gentlemen, is that different from your thought process here?
No, and it will be Flashpoint too. It's always Flashpoint. like a team goes up 2-0, and you're like, nah, you can never doubt this other team, because somehow the team always screws up Flashpoint, or the other team's a Flashpoint god. That's where it always happens.
Yeah.
Now, oh, sorry.
I was just going to say for myself, we talked about it already. You guys brought up the fact that it was a 3-0 sweep in favor of Outliers Esports, but that was week 8. That was the final week of the regular season. And I mean, RRG got sent down here after their loss in round 1, while Outliers was able to win a series there and then get knocked down here. So, I mean, recency bias is still a big thing. I know I talked about RRG and their constant improvement from what I've seen them from, I believe it was all the way back in Get Good till now. But I still think it is a tough road for them here, but I still do see a small chance of them maybe making some noise in this series.
Speaking of people who think they're going to make big noise in this series, let's take a look at the caster. Take a look at the caster predictions here. and there.
There they are.
Wait, what?
All the
No,
same.
wait a second. Wait a second.
Wait, no, that did Mega change it?
No, Mega did not change her prods. I don't think. No, that's why. That's why I did the little, you know.
Oh yeah, Mega
the
went
segue.
3-0 RRG.
Yeah.
So we
Mega
can.
said 3-0 RRG.
Huh.
And
That's okay. I mean, we could thank Megalass if Outliers wins here, but if RRG pulls off an upset, apparently to us, Megalass is just gonna be laughing at us.
True.
Yeah, and
Bold
deservedly
play.
So if this is gonna be a complete like on its head 3-0 for Roadrunner Gaming. Hunter said it was gonna be a quick, clean 3-0. You know what? I think we're about time. Yeah, it's 8:02. The times are ready to get into the matchup. Let's send it over to the casters. Let's see how Mega defends her pred of 3-0 for Roadrunner Gaming.
Okay, so people are going to be like, oh, you're just taking the long odds bet, right? I was here the last time these two teams clashed together in that Week 8 match, right? 3-0 does not tell you the entire story. It was a close affair across all those maps. And, you know, RRG, they have this trend, right? We've seen it throughout the regular season. We've seen it. It's either a 3-0 or an 0-3. There's no in between, right? So if I have faith that they're going to win control, which I do, I have to have faith they're going to win the whole series. They have to stick with what they know. Yes. See, there's some mic issues happening for Hunter. I didn't think there was, but hey, you know, it's fine. But as Hunter was talking about, right, both these teams, they've had their qualms, their issues in the bracket, but ultimately, you know, you're here, you're still in the playoffs, you're do or die right now. And, you know, we're here in the PC tier, we're in lower bracket. This is where teams can kind of show up and shine, right? A brand new meta is before you. You're no longer forced to play Orisa all the time. It really is just kind of anybody's game here, and I really want to see RRG potentially step up in a big way.
Yeah, and I'm hoping the mic is going now. It should very much be, but no, I agree with you very much so, and I'm really looking forward to kind of what these teams want to pull out on this very first map, because it is going to kind of tell the tale a little bit, because as you kind of talked about a little bit now, but also while we were watching the desk, RG is, or both of them, are the kind of team that does end up in these 3-0 situations, whether that's being 3-0, whether that's taking the 3-0. So it's very much going to be one side or the other in that retrospect. But, of course, going to have to see, because we're going to be setting up first map. Is there... Ooh, we do have our first map. A bit of an interesting first map as well. Busan and Megalas. When I think of Busan, my mind goes to compositions like Poke. And some scenarios, that dive is also viable to come out.
Yeah, I mean, not only that, right? If you think over towards the mecha base, there's a lot of brawl compositions that can be run to some pretty good effect. Busan, like you said, it's very interesting, right? This playoff so far, we've seen a lot of Nepal, a heck of a lot of Nepal, if we're just being honest here.
Oh, yeah.
But some Samoa getting splashed in, but I think this is the first or second time I'm seeing Busan. I believe this pick comes through from Outliers, since they came down from upper bracket just a little bit sooner than RRG did. So, I mean, yeah, it's going to be interesting, right? Each of these 3 sub-maps of Busan, you're going to have some interesting, you know, different compositions you can roll out, some different hero picks potentially. The sightlines aren't as required to play things like, you know, longer ranges like a Sojourn or potentially an Ashe. You can sort of play that mid-range that we've been seeing a resurgence of with the Cassidy. I mean, really, it comes down to if these teams want to get a little bit creative and try stuff out.
Yeah, and there's kind of this question of how much do you really want to test out and kind of, kind of figure out your limits while you're in not just a match like this, but the very first map out, because typically that is reserved for when you get into those match point situations where it's like, okay, We have tried what we have practiced. It does not work. So let's see what happens if we try something different, because we've seen that in the past that worked for some teams that managed to pull it back for that very reason. But of course, going to have to figure out momentarily as we're going to be ready to jump into things where we will see what these teams seem to be showing a good level of comfortability in, which all things considered can be up in the air with how the quote-unquote meta is going, because it's not something that's necessarily solidified yet.
Yeah, we're in sort of a gray zone, right? We've sort of killed Orisa unless you're specifically countering out Junker Queens in that rock, paper, scissors tank duel. And everybody's sort of just lying in wait now that we had words of these crazy mid-season changes. So really, we're in kind of a gray zone right now. A lot of tanks feel viable. With the exception of one or two, unless they are heavily supported by their squads. But as we start out here, it seems like we're going to be on the mecha base first. This is where I was talking about. We're going to see a bit more of the brawl comps roll out here. And interestingly enough, we're going to be seeing, I think that was a Reinhardt here, but there was no real help for it. It was just sort of the Sojourn and things of that nature. As I was going to say, we're just seeing our faces here, but the points on we're not actually on mecha base. I was lied to. I was hacked.
Wow, unfortunate scenario. But you kind of said yourself, a little bit of different sides right now. The Reinhardt versus that Sigma. Sigma going to play a little further away, but you can see them trying to take the aggression right away to Lion Gamer. Nene is eventually getting pushed back to the shield. Is super low. They need to find somebody on the pin. Eventually get somebody with it. Going to check out Mitosis, now giving them the advantage, but of course they managed to trade directly back in just this game of being able to play the poke, beginning to already play advantage for Outliers, already clearing 2 away. You see people trying to make some kind of effect, but unfortunately when you do lose your tank, that is a even bigger disadvantage from losing a support or your DPS. So eventually Outliers will take the first fight, and RRG gonna have to prioritize taking these fights a little bit quicker.
Yeah, and you're seeing that both of these teams are really opting into still playing the rest of the composition that was meta exactly the same, right? You're seeing the Lucio Kiri support both of these tanks, and it really is that difference between the Reinhardt and the Sigma. So the Rein's going to be looking to close that distance time and again before swinging that hammer.
Yeah, of course, and right now, Nay already getting stunned, not even about halfway to their ultimate, but not going to matter, is even though we do have the trade out, Outliers do have the ability to kind of be ready to use the Kitsune Rush if they wanted to, but unfortunately just going to see the reset instead. Unfortunately, Cap not going to be able to make their way out of there. So again, good fight for Outliers. Going to have a lot of balls going into this next fight. They're going to be able to build up for RRG. Really just sitting on a pulse bomb right now.
Yeah, and they've been getting stifled, so that's the natural course of it right now. So this next fight for Roadrunner has to sort of be a rinse fight, right? You get some ultimates out, you make the other team make mistakes, and then you come in on the next fight trying to make it yours.
At 100% here, still ready to go, and Outliers just going to go in and use the flux, going to clean things up, and just like that, that fight already over with. These fights happen very quick as well, and RRG hitting a reset button cannot afford to lose another, but unfortunately they'll lose 2, actually.
Yeah, those staggers are brutal here. And again, it's the trouble of the Reinhardt closing the distance here. A lot of brawl things can struggle with it in these sort of matchups. The Pulse Bomb ends up going wide from BT, though, so this could be the opening for a Roadrunner to finally get in now that they're building close to their own ultimates.
Yep, and then they're still not built up to that Shutter quite yet. So facing them where they might not even be able to get it, as Mitosis is already going to have that overclock online. Again, Aquatic does manage to find Bowser already. Fight already well and over, the beat going to come out as well for good measure. We are going to see eventually Lion Gamer being taken off the edge, but Nene, you just got to let the shatter go on somebody. You have to hope and pray that you find someone. It is nothing but the backboard. No, that's nobody's found. Eventually things will be cleaned up. Lion Gamer coming back on the Doomfist, but not even going to need to. Outliers just cleaning things up a little bit more. We eventually see Bias coming back. Bowser does manage to get one. Unfortunately, the number of games becoming a little too much, and Outliers are going to start this out with a 100-0. Never really gave RRG a chance to really get out the gate or honestly finish most of their rotations properly.
So I felt good about the idea of the Reinhardt if you played fast if we were on Mecha Base. Which we were not.
Well,
we were.
we will not be.
We were down. We were in downtown. We're heading to the shrine now. But that Rhine, we highlighted it. Nene, as much as you want to, you can't close the distance on that Sigma before a pit comes through in your back line. So it really kind of means that either this Reinhardt Oh my goodness, a sneeze I could
Bless
not
you.
stifle. But it just means that this Reinhardt either needs to find a way to close the distance with the team without these picks coming through, or the rest of the squad really needs a way to try to pick up that momentum, try to keep pace with Nene as they try to go in for these crazy picks.
Yeah, Usher again, and even more so, Koser is over on that Moira. Moira, who does have a lot of initial burst healing. Unfortunately, that is not a character that is really good for super long fights. But hey, starting things out, little least of your worries right now. You already lose Pickles, you lose that speed, so now RRG do have the ability to push up on this left side, push them back, and Aquatic just going to focus on taking over the point. So Outliers should have zero problem capping first. RRG just hoping to reset, and I mean, already, before they can do the rotation, one already gone, but they're going for the touch, actually. Nene losing the shield on the point, eventually hoping to have it flip over, but Mitosis does end up going down. We do see the contact with the point. No flip coming quite yet right now as RRG just need to come out of one more target together, and they should be able to clean this thing up lickety-split. BT in the background trying to be a little bit of a hassle, but Lion Gamer, Aquatic both getting low, eventually will be taken out. Point looking like it's eventually going to flip over to RRG. Fight looks like it's going to be over with RRG making that work, but that was a really close back and forth.
Yeah, but I mean, I do like the adaptation RRG is making, right? You're over to the Moira now. You don't really need the cleanse. The only hard CC that Outliers is going to be presenting to you is going to be that accretion from Sigma. So you're willing to operate without it here for those, insane heals that Moira can put out. Already building Coles to a coalescence here is Kuzer. So really, it's going to be just a good point fight here for RRG.
Yep, see them bringing to the pressure to the point. They do have the coalescence going to come in quick with it. That pulse bomb came out. Not going to find anything, unfortunately. As you see, Nene going in super deep. Does have the heals of the coalescence, so by every right, have the ability to go in and get away with quite a bit. Unfortunately, coalescence out. Not a whole lot of healing remaining as they're trying to burst through, but BT will get taken down first as Nene goes pretty aggressively for the pin, going to pay for it as well. Losing your tank, potentially going to be detrimental, and now Mitosis with a chance here to eventually use the overclock, but looking like they're not going to need it in the first place. With Koser going down, last couple members going to be rid of the point. Just a little bit of last stall from Pickles, but that stall instantly died as Slick over on that Baptiste. Already going to have that amplification matrix as well.
Yeah, Nene, you might want to not use pin every single time it comes off cooldown. That would be the first sort of advice there. But yeah, heavy ultimates that are coming up on both sides of this coin right now. I'd probably watch out for Lion Gamer's Gravitic Flux, as really is going to force RRG's sound barrier, and then the fight can sort of break down from there in terms of who wants to sort of overinvest to try to get back onto this objective.
Yeah, going in full force with the ping again. We are going to see that Flux come out, be going to be forced out of RRG. And now it's down for Aquatic to eventually use their beat, I imagine, because nothing can really counter it now as they're sending it through. Eventually, the Shatter going to come through, going to catch on the one. The beat going to be able to catch on, though. Going to keep Lion Gamer alive, but unfortunately gets caught with a Deadeye as well, as the point did manage to flip during that situation. And now, in a 5v4, Outliers in a situation where it's not looking too great, but the pulse bomb comes out, not finding anything. It's still a big back and forth. The most important thing right now is Nene is not only alive, sitting at full health, will be able to stall this point for a very long time. And with Aquatic going down, it's no longer a question of stall. It's a question of this could be the final fight. Is Lion Gamer getting deleted for a moment? As RRG hoping to clean these things up, hoping to take this second point right here, but fight from Outliers still going. Lion Gamer does manage to get the support once again. That counter pin eventually going to take out Nene. Point going to flip back over to Outliers Esports, but that single flip RRG getting themselves to 96%. You still have to be kind of happy with that.
I mean, you're especially happy if you are aware of the situation you're in right now, right? You have the coalescence. You're going to be close to your sound barrier. Outliers Esports, they have nothing in the bank. Your closest hope and prayer is going to be Slick getting another, amplification matrix, but that's easier said than done here. So really, RRG has all the pressure and momentum to get onto this objective and force the fight.
Yep, see your pressure already being delivered. Going to go out, going to try to get rid of one. Gets a ghost cap. That is fantastic. And Lion Gamer also going to be able to survive. You see the fade out. Koser already won. Pickles does have the beat. Unfortunately, not going to have the chance to use it. While Bowser does manage to find one. Damage is likely going to be too much to clear them away. So eventually, last couple of people are going to be taken away. Going to take the quick reset. This last fight will decide it. But significant thing, though, Pickles does manage to hold on to the beat. And that will be the most important thing going into this next fight.
It will, with Mitosis sitting here with another overclock charged up. These rails could be absolutely devastating, especially if they're pumped through an amplification matrix from Slick. But Outlier, they can just have raw damage.
Incredible shot, just going through the gap right there within the drum. So now 5v4, you have to force yourself onto the point. Don't have a shatter. It is just right up. Pickles going to use the beat. He's going to manage to hit all 4 members as Bowser was super close to going down. But still, you still have the overclock. You still have the amplification matrix. The pulse bomb is going to come out first and foremost, draining Nene down. And the rest of the cleanup coming through. RRG looking like they were coming back with something. Unfortunately, Outliers holding on to those much-needed ultimates will take that final fight and will take Oasis to start out this series. I mean, good scenario to come through. Not only we go back to downtown taking the 100-0, but being able to pull that one back from being behind 60-70% and just hold those ultimates to where you needed them most.
Yeah, I mean, downtown absolutely was a wash here, but I feel like the adaptations they made here on the Shrine, it really was looking solid, for RRG, but like you said, they just couldn't clutch out that one fight where they had massive advantage. The Sojourn unfortunately caught out there by the Doomfist, and I mean, the stat board, I mean, it says everything right here. There really was no purchase on that first round. I don't even know if there was necessarily picks that were going through their way, but it also, it tells you exactly everything that Mitosis is doing here on the Sojourn, as we're just sort of, evaluating everything. If we can actually take a look at potentially some Tracer stats across the board here. Yeah, BT pretty much doubling every single metric outside of damage. Damage from Capsation was really close, so it is going to be interesting moving forward here, but maybe not the Reinhardt hero. That's what I'll say.
No, and I'm still a firm believer that Ryan can be used in very specific certain situations. I think it 100% can be. Unfortunately, that is not the case for Busan. Mecha base, maybe, but there's still the potential for a lot of long range like hit scan to kind of come through. I think the most significant thing is you're running this Ryan into a Sigma. If you're quick enough, maybe you can make it work, but the problem is Cap wasn't able to do a whole lot anyway because the Sigma, it's constantly hitting all of these flank angles. All they have to do is turn, throw something at the corner, and if it even hits that Tracer, neurons go off of your brain like, oh, someone's shooting here. I can't peek quite yet. I have to wait, or I have to go somewhere else. So they can't be in the fight as often, as we had BT in the fight. And that's why they managed to have more eliminations, dying less, and getting more final blows because they're really in the fight and not getting as heavily punished because at the end of the day, the Rhine not that capable of taking care of the Tracer in pretty much every situation.
Yeah, and, again, it's just sort of the shortcomings of Ryan, right? This once powerful character at the beginning of Overwatch in 2016, just, as the years go by, the old age catches up with our favorite Crusader. And, I'd like to see, some potential more adaptations come out from RRG because especially that second round, right? Even on the inferior comp, you were forcing Outliers to completely change up their game plan, their approach, into that map and really being able to sort of force them off their comfort picks and things like that this early on in the series. It is a really good sign. You just have to be able to actually capitalize on it with, making those counter swaps of your own.
Yep, and now you have to think about the situation as they'll be able to pick our next map. Do you want to go to somewhere that you want to try to make the Rhine still work, or are you now in a situation where it's like, all right, we tried a Rhine, we tried to make it work, it didn't happen, let's go to something else. Maybe we try to match that Sigma, maybe we try to go to a different kind of brawl with that, or Matcha, or even in some weird scenarios that Malga could work as well. So curious what they want to go with, but I think we're figuring out Megaless, and if this is correct, what we're about to see, I am slightly shocked because it looks like we're going to be heading to Midtown next, a map where Ryan is not that viable of a character.
I mean, to be fair, if you're looking at our hybrid pool, we have Paraiso, Hollywood, Midtown here, and Eichenwald, right? All 4 maps are awful for Reinhardt. Like, the Midtown of the 4 is probably the best because at least on Point A and Point C, there's some rotations through some alleys and back doors you can kind of work with, right? But Point B, where there's that elevated high ground that you have to worry about, it just sort of completely slips out of your hands. So I'd be interested to see, but we don't even know if they're going to keep running the Reinhardt, right? There are other brawl options. The Orisa isn't as dead as people thought. It's more niche now than you would think, but maybe into the Sigma or into, a potential Junker Queen, they could find some extra value. But there's also always that Ramatro, right? Being able to throw those pummels out with that Nemesis form and things like that. Just sort of doing Ryan's job, but slightly better, getting people through. And I mean, they're on the defense, so I guess it's real. As much as I want to look at the Pigeon, we're going to have to look at Roadrunner Gaming again because they're sticking with their guns. The Reinhardt is going to be here, but a Baptiste this time. I do like this kind of adaptation. It's almost like a poke composition in and of itself. You're just keeping the Lucio to speed Ryan around. Exactly that. Yeah. Meanwhile, Outliers in their own spawn, probably looking for some sort of dive. As you're seeing, the Kiriko, the Lucio come back online here. This Winston, I will more than likely expect to go over to a D.Va after the first fight or two, simply because there's not a lot Winston's going to be able to do into the Bastion, Baptiste. There's too much going on for one monkey to handle.
Yeah, I do think there's a scenario where they can make it work. The most important thing when facing the Bastion is being able to get their turret form out, because it's not old Overwatch 1 where they can just bring it in and out as much as they please. Once it comes out and it goes away, it is back on that cooldown. During that time, Bastion could be a lot more of an exposed situation, not able to have as much damage output. So I imagine waiting for that opportunity and trying to force it right now. Just waiting for that opportunity. Again, just playing around, getting their heals, trying to make sure they survive. And with the bubble down, gonna force them to back out. Turret form does come out. Unfortunately, I'm a Gamer is going to go down. Will be a moment after the fact, because it is still a 4v5. The fight is still going on as BT is still hanging around right now. Aquatic trying to get out will eventually be able to, same for BT. So at the very least, we'll get a quick reset for RRG. Clearly liking what they're starting on, but Outliers still plenty of time to adapt.
Yeah, and you saw it during that fight. Mitosa's able to get a lot of angles on the Sojourn here coming from main. So sure, while Lion Gamer gets bursted down time and again, as a auto pause comes through, means somebody might be on the verge of a disconnect or things like that. ISPs. Yep, there it comes through. It's actually Aquatic on the side of Outliers that ends up disconnecting there. So no Lucio in the fray for right now. But I mean, RRG, I actually kind of like. I like this compositional setup specifically against the Winston. Once, Lion Gamers, if they choose to adapt, go over to that D.Va, I mean, it's going to be a little bit harder to sort of make this Bastion and Sojourn work, but so far, I mean, one fight, they got it done.
I mean, and that first fight does serve as a good example to where, the glimpses that we saw before is that they can make this work, but it becomes a matter of consistency. Knowing you can do it once means you know you can do it 100 times more. And you just have to keep that consistency. So kind of with this DC the way it is, obviously Outliers will take a quick reset. But I think Outliers also understands what they have to do during this dive. I just think they need to do there are full commitment dives, okay? And then sometimes you can go in for what is kind of just a partial dive, where you go in a little bit, you're not going in for the kills, more or less to force out the cooldowns. And it's like I said before, if you force out that turret, you are in a much better position as a Winston to go in for a dive. It's just the question of you have to survive that initial dive in the first place, forcing out those cooldowns. Can they pull it off? I mean, I'm not going to cast a curse anybody here. I'm not going to say yes or no. That's something we're going to have to see. But they do have the potential to do so. And I think the fact that they're still on it means that they believe they can do that.
Yeah, I mean, that first fight, it really just didn't go their way because it wasn't, well, they were trying to force out the Bastion. They gave all the attention over there, Capsation on the Sojourn was just sort of putting in bullets here or there, a rail afterward. And eventually, once that Winston's health bar, it drops low enough. That's where you're going to see Nene. They haven't been scared to get aggressive in the slightest on this Reinhardt. And that's sort of what you need from your Reinhardt. You sort of have to be fearless despite how squishy you can feel. 700 HP, it's not like Malgo, right, where you have a way to sustain and re-get it and things like that. It just sort of feels like it doesn't go exactly how you want it to a lot of the times for Ryan here. But I think we are just sort of waiting and checking and seeing about this disconnect. It seems like it is a just full-on internet explosion that may have occurred here. But yeah, we're just sort of waiting to see exactly how soon it'll be before they get back.
Yeah, 100%. I think kind of little interesting notes, which we'll make kind of when we eventually get back, because we want to make sure we give the whole teams time to make sure they're all set up and ready to go. Make sure Aquatic can kind of get back and have a stable connection, hopefully. But until then, we're going to take a quick little break while they get sorted out. So don't get anywhere, because we'll see you here in a couple of minutes. And we are back once again here, as everything has been figured out. Aquatic back on the scene, and it's over.
It's so over. It's
well.
Okay.
Well, great.
You know, Aquatic baited us. Joined the game,
Wow.
said R. Then we see the message of wait, nothing is loading, and then, you know, this is why internet tournaments are the best, right? Like the scuff, it comes with the territory. Everybody's had issues, right? You know, whether you're competing at the crazy high, peaks of, here the PC Open, you got the cash prize at the end waiting for you, or if you're, just playing a diamond tournament for fun or something like that. The internet issues, they always can plague anybody. So hopefully Aquatic can figure out exactly what's going on to get back in. But I mean, hey, you know what? Look at it this way, right? If there's a situation where like the internet just can't fix, we could have RRG randomly just get a free map win. That'd be pretty cool, right? We have tied series.
But then my prediction dies, so obviously we can't let them just take a free map. Clearly,
Of course.
They have the option though to also simply fight the 4v5, which obviously is just a massive deficit to kind of go about. Literally, it would be one heck of a deficit to go down. But
Aquatic is playing from a hot spot.
that is crazy. As into the 4v5, as Aquatic is back for now. I'm not jinxing anything else. I don't want to see it a third time, Megalas. I just don't.
Yeah, but I mean, so anyway, to get serious again, Outliers, they're making a good dive here onto the point.
Whoa. Yeah, I guess the pause did serve them a little bit, as Outliers already going to be clearing away No Nag. Nene eventually going to be taken out as well, so Outliers will be able to cap this point in due time. And to be honest, I don't even know if, obviously we were at the pause for a little while. I didn't know if the Terraform was even activated, but they went all in on that, and it paid off. Wow.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing, right? You can either wait out the turret form, or you could sync up your dive so fast that it won't even matter. No Nag, possibly couldn't get it off there. So now the defenders sent a little bit reeling. RRG is going to be holding this high ground, and it's going to be another situation where Outliers is going to have to find, their moment to dive in, their moment to strike. But this time they have some good ultimates in the bank to do that. Lion Gamer will have the Primal Rage to survive. A Pulse Bomb stick onto a Bastion could hit the whole team if they're stacked on top of each other. Really, I mean, Outliers can get some good momentum.
Yeah, thing is, though, for Outliers, they can take time setting up this dive, because eventually RRG is the one that has to eventually come down from the point. So now what you're going to see is BT and I guess someone else just kind of staying around this point, eventually forcing it to go under. So RG is going to have to be forced to go down, eventually take this fight. You see Cap kind of just doing so as well. Pickles down there with them, eventually forcing them away, but still that's progress that they got more or less for free. And now RG is going to give up the high ground, as the overclock's going to both come online. Motos is not going to come away with the win on that one, as we still are going to see this fight going on. A lot of investment coming through from RRG, who are going to end up using 3 of their ultimates to go ahead and eventually win this fight. But one thing is that card does manage to get halfway under, so Outliers do use a couple of their ultimates, but at the same time, they do get a little bit of progress. Now, the question of RRG, do they want to sit back?
Yeah, and I think something that's going to help facilitate that decision is the Diva now finally coming through, as I was talking about, right? This is going to help mitigate that damage from the Bastion, but also Capsation. I mean, we saw that Sojourn on RRG's side was the hero of that last fight, being able to come away with that trading, taking Mitosis out, but following up onto Lion Gamer. But the Diva is so good for assaulting the high ground.
Yep, 100%. Kusini Rush going to come online, going to be forcing out a lot of RRG to get off of that high ground. And the Terraform also being used, so now able to be at least sending out as Mitosis going to delete No Nag. The Beak going to come online as well, almost a bit of as a security measure, as that card still has not gotten moving yet. So now, as long as Nene and Cap here both live, and they will live, that means they will have a chance to recontest with that Shatter still in hand.
Yeah, I mean, that's the great thing about Earth Shatter, right? The only thing you have to worry about trying to physically catch is Slick, because that Cleansing Suzu can get everybody right back on their feet. But, I mean, just that Shatter, it really can immobilize somebody. It can take this fight really onto another level.
Yeah, and the Shatter does manage to get the one person you're hoping for within Slick, who goes to the pin, will somehow get Slick off of the car, and eventually will be able to clear out. And now, unfortunately for Lion Gamer, they are going to face a very unfortunate sin. Oh, no.
There's not even a cliff. There's no redeeming factor here. The Diva's just going to slowly march to spawn. But yeah, I mean, that's a good dagger here. And again, you're loving to see this aggression from Nene. And, Roadrunner, they're starting to put together a solid defense here, already dipping below the 2-minute mark. The only thing Outliers has for this next fight is going to be Diva Bomb. I expect Lion's just going to hold on to that, though, more of a re-engage tool than anything. Just making sure that mech gets back. So really, just assaulting this high ground once again, forcing RR down and seeing what happens.
To see them come through, hoping to find something with it. Unfortunately, not to be able to do. That's a great anti right there to catch both of the supports from RRG. Unfortunately, damage needing to follow up. Eventually, we'll be able to. Back into the 4v4, as Outliers will be taking the lead once again. Still within that one-fight territory to capture that second point, and eventually this cleanup should cause the point to be able to clear out. Just need to get rid of Pickles and No Nag, who is still alive, trying to get out with their lives. Unfortunately, going to be forced back, and now a touch here. Going to be really tough, but right now RG hoping that they can make it, and they will be able to initially. 1.8 meters, bomb going to come up through the sky, Beat going to come online, going to force basically nothing right now, as they have invested what they needed to, but Mitosis does still have the overclock, They have to make the decision right now of whether or not to invest it, as Cap is found to. Mitosis clearing things back up. A single shatter being used on Line Gamer. Mitosis has cleared out one, needs to clear out another, make that two, hoping to do it with the third. It is just a stall from Nonag, who has the pulse bomb, going to hold on to it. Actually ends up using it. The Cap still going to go through, though. Lots being used, especially from RRG on the defense. Unfortunately, none of those ultimates could stop Mitosis from staying on the high ground. It's clearing 3 people away, almost single-handedly.
And that's the worst case scenario there for RRG. You know, they invest everything in the kitchen sink into a defense that ultimately doesn't come up in time. I mean, losing your supports, it was just unfortunate there. Bowser now over to Kiriko instead of Baptiste, provides that little bit more of that survivability to the hero, but in exchange for a lot less healing to come through onto Nene, which means this aggression has to get measured a little bit more here. Meanwhile, Outliers, they can get aggressive as they want with the nano boost.
Yeah, going to send in, eventually going to force Bowser to go back, who has to cleanse for themselves. Eventually going to have to use it. They get down to 1. Unfortunately, not going to go down. Instead, we get the trade of these Sojourns, the pulse bomb being used to be able to facilitate that. You see Nene go all in, get anti, gonna get blown up. Now RRG still both supports online. Pickles trying to survive, getting chased down right now and eventually forced to a really uncomfortable position and will die a little late. So RRG gonna have to group together here. Only really going to have potentially this last fight for either team. Was BT ends up getting caught out by Bowser. So now Outliers, the other ones in the rough situation as Nene is gonna go over to the Zarya, and I think for Outliers, this might be the chance to kind of get out of dodge, but the bomb's going to come up instead. Going to get absolutely nothing. And now you lose the bomb. You're going to get forced back. Mitosis is down, and if Glamour Gamer gets to D-Mech, this would be catastrophic, and they are going to be. Oh, no.
Yeah, and so the question is, how bad can this stagger be? The Baby Diva, you know, just trying to live, trying to get some shots off, hoping to get that mech before anybody on RRG can really realize what's going to happen here. The mech gets called down. Oh my, I really thought there was about to be a squish on the Pickos there. But yeah, so without their Diva, I don't think anyone from Outliers can make it to point.
Ooh, a little bit of a barely touch there for BT as Lion Gamer is going to come back on this wrecking ball. Stall code going through, but eventually BT is going to be taken out. Mitosis hasn't made it back yet. The beat going to come online for just a safety measure. Lion Gamer making their way onto the point. The pulse bomb does not follow through with anything, but it doesn't really need to. Outliers going to be stopped at that final corner. And RRG had something going there. I think a problem for Outliers was, unfortunately, those couple of staggers we got from the D-Max, and I think just some of those bomb uses were a little bit more aggressive than they should have been.
Yeah, but I mean, my biggest fear right now for RRG is the fact that they can't do exactly what they just did for an offense, right? I mean, if they're going to try to roll out with a Bastion and things of that nature, your rotations are going to have to be on point. And I feel like if Outliers are able to identify this, they're able to predict by potentially rolling out on a Diva just off rip, then it really is going to be just such a thorn in the side for RRG. I do like that slight adaptation we saw with Nene going over to the Zarya at the end, you know, finally engaging in the rock, paper, scissors instead of just deciding Ryan is the only honorable option. That being said, I mean, Outliers defense, oh no.
Please don't let it be aquatic. Please, I beg.
Aquatic.
I'm praying right now. I'm ready to watch this little window, hoping Aquatic's name doesn't just suddenly disappear, which that would be the third DC within this map. But I do think it's a very interesting comp, and honestly, the correct comp for Outliers right now. You can obviously have Slick around to kind of keep Lion Tamer up with, or Lion Gamer up with all that big healing you get from the Baptiste, and Aquatic will be able to focus on the squishies and keeping them alive, and in turn, Slick will help Aquatic out. So I think the comp is fantastic as we're seemingly ready to get back into things, thankfully, as whatever the problem was has been solved.
The best guess that even Outliers had was potentially the internet officially came back, so Aquatic off of the hotspot now onto the real internet. But yeah, as you were highlighting, you know, Outliers comp for the defense, it really is, you know, it kind of puts everybody in a good position. Slick has been doing amazing work on this Baptiste. You don't want to remove them from that role, but you give the Briggs as sort of a healer to the healer. You saw it played a lot with Ana, but now Bap needing that extra survivability as well. Meanwhile, RRG, I mean, the Roadhog catches a rock out of spawn, but like, okay, I was going to say, the rolling out the hog is crazy. The Ramatra, I like this a lot more. You can rotate through your sides and things like that, and everything can work out for you.
Yeah, and I do see that Nene being on the Ramatra is going to be quite an advantage over that Sigma as well, because remember, Sigma, although they do have the Eat, it's not really going to be able to stop that damage from coming through, but Mitosis going to find Pickles, going to lose that ability to kind of get out of there efficiently so Nene in a weird position where they're trying to be able to get out, unfortunately not going to be able to, cleared away. RG going to have to take the reset, and Outliers, they understand how they want to play this. They don't want to let Nene get too close to them, because if they get close with that Nemesis form, it's going to be really tough for Lion Gamer to negate any of that damage.
Yeah, but Outliers, I mean, they're playing so in sync right now. It's hard to see it, but it's proving in the damage that comes through, right? Like, anything that, gets bursted down onto, it actually gets finished up here. So RRG, they really need to try to keep everybody nice and topped up as best they can, because Outliers is great at identifying these weaknesses.
Yep. Eat going to come through. Cleanse going to be used as well, though, as Nene not really going to have anything to work with for the time being, but we do see right now, Cap is a little separated, eventually going to be taken out, but the trade will come through. BT going down as well. Lion Gamer needs to hope they find something with this, as once again, getting punched with that Nemesis form through their Eats as well, so back to the 4v4 scenario, going to end up seeing the window being used. Nonag gets hit with one heck of the nade right there, so Outliers will be able to stabilize, clean things up here, as they are sitting on a flux and a beat that is not quite ready yet for RRG.
No, they're still trying to crawl ever desperately towards it. Beautiful amplification matrix to help stabilize that fight. But I mean, RRG, they're not scared to keep these engages going time and again, because once they get this Annihilation online, I mean, Outliers is going to have a hard time sustaining through it.
Yeah, 100% Deadeye online. Lion Gamer going with the Flux as well as they find No Nag. Again, they go with a double investment here, so kind of investing a lot to get rid of one person. You need to hope you can get rid of somebody else, because RRG is going to be able to stabilize very quickly here, and there's not a beat to be able to stop this Annihilation or the Kitsune Rush or even counter the other beat. This is a big opportunity for RRG, as they're going to double down in here, hoping just the label Slick is super low, getting a ton of killing, managing to somehow stay alive. Being going to come down and double down, but Nene does not get caught with it. They will end up going down, trading out the tanks. As Aquatic just hoping to survive up above. Is surrounded at all angles right now. Will get rid of Capsun, eventually hoping to get rid of Bowser's as well, as they're going to be forced away, and Outliers, despite being at a massive disadvantage, managed to pull that one out.
Yeah, the fact that somehow, some way, Nene did not receive any of that sound barrier from Pickles. I mean, it really just put the Ramatra in such a tough position here. So now RRG, they're switching over to the Winston. They maybe want to try to speed it up, get some dives going, but it's still going to be incredibly difficult to dive into this composition.
I mean, yeah, 100%. And you see Mitosis is already up to a second. Deadeye now waiting for a great opportunity to use it here, is right now just kind of make sure you keep people away, as Aquatic already going to go down, so Slick going to be on their own in terms of healing, but leave it to BT to be able to kind of clean things up, getting rid of Cap, taking this back to a 4v4 situation, as Lion Gamer, unfortunately not with the double healings anymore, as we see Mitosis hoping to find something with this. It's just getting drained away, unfortunately not going to be able to, forced to get out, will drain Nene, who's sitting on 1 health, basically 20, and as they eventually go down, BT does still have the Pulse Bomb, unfortunately. Not going to see a great chance for it to be used, as Nonag, the last person standing. RRG managed to get it to that 90% echelon. Unfortunately, not going to be able to get that last 10%. Outliers, a fantastic full hold, will put themselves to match point, as, I mean, this team is just so freaking comfortable with this Sigma composition.
Yeah, there's no other words for it. Everybody seemed to be playing stuff that they wanted to be on. Everybody was looking comfortable, looking, just sort of ideal there for Outliers Esports. I mean, Roadrunner, you've been in this position before. You know what it feels like to be here. I just got to hope that they haven't already given up. They don't think it's possible, because there's some fights that really, it feels like it should be going their way. They just can't, get that little last inch. They can't capitalize here. And, it shows, right? I mean, these stats, right? Both these squads are incredibly close. There's even some situations where, people are getting the better of their counterpart in terms of just the damage output or things of that nature. As we actually are going to look at specifically a tank matchup here. Now, obviously, Nene play in Lion Gamer, they play different tanks across Midtown, but